December 7th, 1941. The sky over Hawaii is about to become a furnace. Explosions will tear the water, and fire will sweep across battleships. History is about to turn on a single moment, a moment no one could have guessed. And it's all because one crucial message is dismissed as a joke. Now imagine this. What if, lying still beneath Ford Island, a submarine from the year 2004 watches it all begin at 7:55 a.m.? Would you believe its warning? That Sunday morning, Pearl Harbor is still half asleep. You can hear the sea wind, the sound of radios, the laughter on the shore. But in the submarine moorings near Ford Island, a shadow from the wrong time lies silent. The USS Virginia, a hull from another century. Her captain looks at the calendar. He knows his vessel has been thrown completely out of history's orbit. He sends an urgent brief and sharp warning to base command. There will be a surprise attack this morning. The reply is pure doubt. A strange boat. A strange hull number. No file on record. Wait for verification. As the paperwork circles and the story gets jammed in procedure, the warning is tagged as a delusion. The captain changes his wording. He begs them, just sound the alarm a few minutes early. Get aircraft into the air. Pull the defensive net up. If he's wrong, he says he'll take full responsibility. But peacetime runs on habit and on the paralyzing fear of a false alarm. While the words pending approval hang in the air, a fleet advances in silence offshore to the north. It carries aircraft carriers and a tightly sealed plan. And just as people are still weighing whether to trust this strange message, the sky over the harbor begins to scream. Before we see what happens next, let me ask you, if you love the feeling of commanding ships at sea and matching wits, you should try a naval warfare game you enjoy. It's a great reminder that on the ocean, information is what decides who lives and who dies. All right, back to Pearl Harbor. To the people of 1941, the USS Virginia isn't just a new submarine. It's a steel creature from another world. It doesn't need refueling for a trip of a few weeks. Its nuclear reactor can run for years. It dives fast, it dives deep, and most importantly, it is quiet. Its sound reduction coating and propeller design let it blend into the sea's background noise, cut down to a level that the crude sonar of that era is almost blind to. While sailors in 1941 still have to guess by ear and by luck, the Virginia hears the ocean like a living map. Its computers don't just listen. They fuse data, tracking hundreds of contacts at once, then handing up an answer that a human only has to nod at. And when it's time to shoot, its Mk-48 torpedo isn't an old-fashioned straight runner. It travels at 55 knots, guides itself to the right hull, and detonates under the keel, breaking a ship's back. The Tomahawk cruise missile is even more frightening, though without GPS, every shot becomes a gamble. In other words, under the water, the Virginia represents a whole new set of rules for warfare. That's why the captain's message sounds like a tall tale, yet it's the truest warning of that morning. The only problem is that right now, no one is willing to believe the rules have changed. Hit subscribe to follow this story to its final chilling minute, because the price of the counterstrike will make your spine go cold. Thanks for watching. The captain of the USS Virginia has the data. He knows what's coming, but he lacks something far rarer than sonar: belief. A submarine from 2004 sounds like a ridiculous story. And in peacetime, a false alarm is the enemy. Every warning he gives is met with suspicion. Who verifies this? Where's the file? Where's the official stamp that makes it true? He tries to speak their language, reporting contacts, unnatural propeller beats, courses, speeds. But to the ears of 1941, it's just noise. He offers a simple bargain: raise the alert, launch the fighters, and if he's wrong, he'll accept the consequences. But the chain of command is a slow, grinding machine. The duty officer won't jump levels. Phones ring unanswered. Memos crawl across desks. Onshore, coffee is sipped as the sea lies flat and peaceful. Beneath the harbor, Virginia's crew hears the ocean grow dense, like a crowd gathering in the dark. The captain watches the clock, knowing that history doesn't just lose because of a lack of weapons. It loses when a decision comes too late. Then the sky screams. It's 7:55 a.m. Not a warning siren, but the shriek of diving metal, followed by a blast that makes the water leap. The sound rips through the submarine's hull. The captain doesn't ask again. He snaps a single command: emergency dive. Valves slam shut. The boat slides off the pier, leaving its own century behind as murky water swallows the hull. Through the periscope, he sees a sky filled with black specks and smoke trails. On the surface, fire spreads like a carpet. A battleship blossoms into a column of flame. Virginia is a ghost, unable to help, unable to fire back. All he can do is take his boat deeper and survive. But as the bombs rain down, a small, stubborn trace appears on the sonar screen. A strange propeller sound, crawling into the harbor mouth, thinking the chaos above will cover its tracks. The captain clenches his jaw. If he can't stop them in the sky, he'll stop them under the water. The acoustic analysis cuts through the noise and delivers a single verdict: submarine. No need for confirmation now. The weapons officer unlocks the firing sequence. A single torpedo leaves the tube, a self-guided hunter. The Japanese sub has no time to understand the roar behind it before a flash and a massive shove erases it from existence. Above, the air raid continues. But below, Pearl Harbor has just landed its first silent counterblow. The captain stares at the empty screen, knowing each torpedo is irreplaceable in this time. He can't shoot for rage. He must shoot to change the game. And just then, sonar paints a larger picture. 250 miles north, a massive naval formation is withdrawing, confident in its victory. The carriers that launched this hell. The captain faces a choice: guard the harbor or hunt the source. He chooses the hunt. Increased speed, submerged. The USS Virginia growls, leaving the inferno behind, heading for the enemy who believes they've already won. Out in the Pacific, the Japanese fleet withdraws like a well-fed pack of wolves, orderly, disciplined, and dangerously confident that no one can touch them in the open ocean. But the submarine Virginia is different. It doesn't need to see. It listens. In the sonar headset, the sea isn't empty. It's a fabric vibrating with hundreds of propeller beats. Each one as unique as a fingerprint. The boat system peels away layers of noise, assembling a moving picture of the enemy fleet. It identifies the heavy, steady rhythm of an aircraft carrier, the escort positions of cruisers, and the destroyers circling like hunting dogs. At 25 knots submerged, the Virginia doesn't chase. It cuts corners, taking the shortest path to place itself directly in their retreat route. The captain studies the ghost-like map on his screen. He understands he can't fire torpedoes out of anger. In 1941, every torpedo is a piece of the future that cannot be replaced. He must fire to blind them, and he chooses his targets by the cruelest rule: cut off the head first. The flagship, the command ships, the vessels that hold the formation together. Once they're gone, the rest will fall into confusion, and fear will spread faster than any radio signal. By late afternoon, the Virginia is close enough that the sound of the fleet's machinery fills the headset like a crowd holding its breath. The targeting computer locks onto contacts, assigns a firing sequence, and draws safe attack corridors. The weapons officer reads the list, his voice as even as a death notice. The captain simply nods. In the torpedo room, steel tubes begin to stir. An Mk-48 torpedo leaves the submarine so quietly that the control room only hears the water closing behind it. Then it accelerates, drawing a thin white line through the sea. In 1941, torpedoes are slow and run in a straight line, giving targets time to turn. But the Mk-48 is from another era. It screams along at 55 knots, hones in on the machinery noise, and then dives under the ship's keel, the hidden weakness of even the largest warships. 3 minutes. That's all it takes. On the carrier's deck, officers barely have time to register the white wake knifing toward them. They try to turn, to surge for speed, to send warnings. But their every reflex belongs to a slower time. The blast doesn't come from the side. It erupts from below, lifting the entire slab of steel as if an invisible hand just tossed it. The hull breaks. Aviation fuel ignites, turning the flight deck into a furnace. Before the first explosion even fades, a second one hits, then a third. 3 carriers collapse in 3 minutes so fast, the survivors think their eyes are lying to them. The escorts panic. Destroyers throw their rudders hard over, pinging active sonar into the void, desperate for any echo. Depth charges are dropped out of habit, pounding the sea in a futile display of force. But below, the Virginia has already changed depth, sinking its own noise into the background and reloading its tubes. On the surface, the remaining ships circle through smoke and flame, hunting a ghost that leaves no footprints. A question begins to form in their minds, a question no one dares to speak aloud. What, exactly, is hunting us? If you received Virginia's warning before the attack on Pearl Harbor, would you have dared to sound the alarm? Let me know in the comments, and we'll dive into the next part of the story. Thanks for watching.